All right, we have a signing. We have DeAndre Carter agrees to term with the Browns. First known willing free agent and offensively to sign this year. You know, they got the Deshaun Watson thing going on there. No one really is too hot to sign in Cleveland. So you hold on. Wait a minute. We got Hopkins coming in to Baltimore. We got Metcalf coming in to Pittsburgh. Higgins staying with the Bengals. And you got a first rounder, former first round quarterback coming. Not Mason Rudolph. This is the AFC North. We got Kenny Pickett, former first rounder, coming back the AFC North. Gonna lead the Browns. Let's get started. Welcome into Fantasy AI. Moving on. All right, let's get started with the AFC North with Baltimore bringing out their quarterbacks. Of course, all world Lamar Jackson, number one quarterback in fantasy, 370 points. Whew. So, what'd they do? They went out and signed a backup, Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush comes over from Dallas. Hey, he was the 34th quarterback last year, got in some games with Dallas. You'll see he's 1,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, played towards the end. His time was up there. He signed a 2-year, $6.2 million contract. He's 31 years old, been around a little bit. Wasn't drafted, was a free agent, signed, undrafted. So, and that makes Josh Johnson expendable as a backup quarterback. Green means that they're re-signed with the team or they're new to the team. Yellow means they are a free agent and have not signed with the team, and they probably will not sign Josh Johnson. He was under a 1-year contract last year, and you can see he's up to 38 years old. Drafted back in 2008. It might be the end for him. I don't know. Good luck to him. But, all right, let's bring out their running backs. And all the running backs are back for next year. See, the only changes at number 3 here are the fullback, Patrick Ricard. All right, 300-pound fullback coming at you looking to block you. That's about all he does. He really doesn't score much. Had a touchdown last year, but you can see he was to a 1-year contract, fully guaranteed contract. 300-pound fullback coming down. No wonder they run so much. So anyway, Derrick Henry. You see Derrick Henry here was one of the top running backs. Do you see that I was going over those today, and he is drafted in the second round. 45th pick overall back in 2016. What a career he's had. So it's pretty good for him. And you can see here Baltimore's projected lineup. You know, of course, Derrick Henry will be leading the way. What can you say about the number one offense? You know, so hey, let's bring out the wide receivers. A little change here. Got a lot of them. How about Zay Flowers still leading the way at the 26th wide receiver overall? 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rashard Bateman did good last year. 756 yards, but 9 touchdowns. All right, he ended up finishing 30th overall at receiver. And the big news here in green, the signing, Hopkins from Kansas City. All right, Tennessee as well. But he did pretty good at 600 yards. These were different teams. They signed him to a 1-year contract. $5 million, chance to grow to $6 million. Way back when he was a number 1 first-round pick in 2013. He's been around a while. But hey, maybe give some experience. Super Bowl experience. Get Lamar Jackson over the hump and get him his first Super Bowl. How about? All right, so also now signing of Hopkins, 51st receiver, will probably let them turn loose of Nelson Aguilar, who didn't really do too much. Ooh, he was a first-round pick, too. Still trying to get juice out of him. He'll get signed somewhere as well. But So they're probably going to let him go. They can afford to. They did re-sign here in blue as a re-sign. Same with Patrick Ricard up here. The Blues mean that they're re-signed with the team. And a kick returner, Tyron Wallace. Here, you see he re-signed. 1 year, $2 million contract. Good blocker and a special teamer. All right. He was a 4th round pick back in 21. So he re-signs with the team. Now, what about this Walker? Didn't really do anything last year. Was a rookie. 4th round pick. And that was the 113th pick overall. Got him signed to 2027. Is he going to start doing more? Maybe his development isn't as good. But we see Hopkins. I got him penciled in as the 3rd for them. So they're really set. Look at that. Everyone's coming back the same. Only addition is Hopkins, a better 3rd receiver. Certainly more experience. So that looks for them. Let's bring out their tight ends. Of course, no changes really here either. We've got Mark Andrews, the 5th tight end back. Isaiah Likely, the 14th tight end back. Mark Andrews, hey, he's still under contract. Picked him up, 4-year roster bonus. Keep him on the team in 2025. So it's pretty good. He did pretty good last year. And, of course, they got Isaiah Likely to fall back on. What a great situation. You know, some talk about, well, he's in his contract year too. They always like to play harder in their contract year. So there we go with Baltimore and their team. And, I would bring up their losses, but there are none. Other teams have losses. They haven't lost an offensive free agent yet, although they're still hanging here. No one's in a rush to sign Nelson Aguilar or Josh Johnson. But when they do, we'll have a loss there. So let's go out and switch over to Pittsburgh and bring out the Pittsburghs. First off, we'll see their quarterbacks. Now, you're wondering, are they going to go into the year with Mason Rudolph as their quarterback? He's been with Pittsburgh, of course, brought back from Tennessee. See, he's in green. He's the big signing here. Got in some games last year. So, hey, you know, originally drafted by Pittsburgh in the 3rd round years ago in 2018. So, and they also have Skylar Thompson. All right, they signed him from Miami. He played in 3 games for Miami last year. Didn't really do too good. Miami had problems last year at quarterback. But anyway, he depth piece because, of course, let's go ahead and bring up the losts. We have Justin Fields. Justin Fields signed with the Jets. So they lose him at quarterback. And Russell Wilson, eventually, he's still hanging in the winds here. Until he signs with another team, I still have him listed. Here's a free agent for Pittsburgh. But so what are they going to do? This is the big thing here. Are they going to do something in the draft? Hey, you know, maybe we'll call their bluff and start Mason Rudolph. Hey, there's been plans of that before. So nothing new there. So let's go ahead and bring out their running backs. Some changes here too. You can go over to the loss column. Najee Harris signs with the Chargers here. 4-year, 1,000 yards. Was a 1st round pick from the Steelers in 2021. Up to $9 million a year. While things are looking good for him, how about here? That opens up things for re-sign Jaylen Warren. All right. You see what he did last year? And tended as he was a restricted free agent, but they tended it. So it sounds like no one's going to re-sign him, so he'll be with the Steelers unless something drastic happens. So he'll be your number 1 back. And they did sign here in green Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell, and you can see what he did last year. I mean, hey, behind Barkley, you're not going to get a lot of action. Hey, he says he grew up being a Steeler fan every Sunday, so he's happy to sign with them. So they do have him at running back as a kind of backup. Of course, Patterson, special teamer, is still there, and Jonathan Ward. So the big question here is Warren, right? Well, we've seen in the past. I think back to Dallas, Pollard. Everybody was, oh, he was so good. Let's get him in there, Pollard, and see what he can do. And because get rid of Ezekiel Elliott, and they finally did. And Pollard didn't do too good when he found out being the number one running back all the time isn't as easy as it looks. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go ahead and bring out their wide receivers. Got some changes here. Pittsburgh's got some action, at least. Baltimore brought back everybody. DK Metcalf signed as a new wide receiver here. Pretty good, 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hey, he was only a second-round pick back in 2019. But that big frame, they just all fell in love. That 6'3", and fast. Second-round pick they had to give up for him. They signed. Then they included a 5-year, $150 million contract. So he's under contract here. Actually, their highest-paid player now, right? Got Freiermuth and Warren with that new contract, and Mason Rudolph. But hey, really nothing there. They got plenty of cap space here too to continue going shopping. So, all right, we'll look over that, and then other wide receivers. Pickens is back. They still got Pickens, so they got some receivers. But of course, remember we're doing an Arthur Smith offensive coordinator here, so I don't know how much passing we're going to get. Hey, Ben Skoranek, they re-signed. No, that's a it is a re-sign because he was off the practice squad, I think. But anyway, only ran 46 routes and 5 targets, second fewest among any receiver. So then they got Austin here as the number 3. Maybe they'll look to expand in the draft a little bit. Of course, they lost Mike Williams. He went back home to Chargers, so he was a loss there. Boy, we only had him in here on 1-year contract last year, but he signs a new $6 million contract with the Chargers. Only got $10 million out of Pittsburgh last year. Van Jefferson moves on to Tennessee. So he had some losses here at receiver, maybe. Even though they picked up Metcalf here and re-signed Skoranek, maybe they could pick up something else here. Maybe in the draft, get a little deeper. And let's bring out their tight ends. Of course, no real change here. You got Pat Freiermuth, number 9 tight end last year. That's pretty dang good. 653 yards. So, very good for him. Hey, you got him under. And Darnell Washington. What about him? He's under contract. 3rd-round pick. 93rd pick overall. So, they've got their tight ends. He's tied up to 2026. So, pretty well, this Pruitt here can probably get let go here. So, excuse me. All right, let's bring out the Bengals. Head over to the Bengals and see what they have. Let's bring out their quarterbacks. Of course, we know Joe Burrow, number 4 quarterback overall last year. Jake Browning, they have him. So their quarterbacks are set. Of course, the big story here with the Bengals is not at running back. They do have Chase Brown returning at 13th here. So all good there. They'll probably run him back. He was 5th-round pick, 163rd. Don't have much invested in him at all. And he's good to 2026, so they'll get some out of him for a while. Did pretty good last year. All right, so we'll look over, how about Zach Moss here? Be the backup, I suppose, in first in line, or it's going to be new signee back to the team. Perine, Samaje Perine's back to the team. Agreed to the 2-year contract. Reconnect with Bengals. 2 years in Denver and Kansas City. 30. He's going to be 30, though. So, anyway, they got him as kind of receiving back. All-purpose, short yardage. Who knows? Bring in to beef up the running back thing. All right, here's the big story. Wide receiver. Everyone here has heard about the struggles to get T. Higgins back. All right, T. Higgins back for a 4-year, $115 million contract. Deal keeps him through 2028. All right, that keep them together, the big 3. So the big 3's Burrow, finished 4th overall. Jamar Chase, the number 1 receiver last year. And T. Higgins. All right. Got them all back. And remember, look, last year they were the number 1 team passing. With those 2 good receivers, you can see why. So, and Jamar Chase here He gets a new deal, 4-year, $161 million deal. So we look over their money. $55 million going for Joe Burrow, $40 million for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, $28 million. I mean, boy, they're top heavy on offense. Maybe they won't be able to sign Trey Hendrickson, the defense. That's all in the big news for them now. Well, let's bring out their tight ends too. All right, we look at their tight ends. Of course, they re-signed Gesicki too, don't forget. And that cost them too, 23-year, $25 million. Just a spending spree on offense, right? Just spending all the money up, and really has to let the defensive Trey Hendrickson go because they got all this money tied up here. But, hey, you can see here, even Gesicki here, the $8 million. Their top 4 offensive players are all just getting the money. So that's good for them. Back here, receiver, you had Andre here. He's 6th round pick. They did pretty good with 3rd round receiver here. So, all right. And this tight end they can let go. He's a free agent. So you wonder if they're going to sign Tanner Hudson. All right. He kind of got some action last year. He was up for free agency. Drew Sample they've got. Right? And he was a 2nd round pick. 56. So they got a lot invested in 2026. So they'll probably, I would assume, let this Tanner Hudson go. Well, the other. So let's go ahead and look at the Browns. Bring up the Browns. See what they've got here. And Kenny Pickett brought in a new quarterback for them. So he will probably be their starting quarterback, acquired in exchange for DTR and a 5th round pick. So 27 years old. Hey, don't forget, he was a 1st round draft pick, right? Maybe he can restart his career like Sam Darnold did last year. So, hey, he could be their quarterback. Of course, they got Deshaun Watson backing him up. I've got Jameis Winston not signed yet. He had filled in pretty good for him last year. So, remember, Jameis was a 1st round pick. They got a bunch of, can't say they don't have talent. They got 3 1st rounders as their quarterbacks here in Cleveland. So, all right, let's bring out the next running backs. Boy, Cleveland's got some problems. Let's bring up their losses here. They just lost 2 quarterbacks, Bailey Zappi and DTR, of course, in that trade. So, but we went over their quarterbacks. So no real running backs lost yet. No one signed Nick Chubb or Deontay Foreman. They're hanging. Of course, they got Jerome Ford back. He's tentatively their starting running back. So he did all right, filling in 37th, I guess. You have Pierre Strong. Let's take a look at, I got their team here. Pierre Strong's under contract. So you're looking at Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Ford. I still have Foreman listed here, but I don't know what they're going to do there. And it would be Kenny Pickett as their. And hey, the bright spot here is Njoku. We'll get to tight end here in a minute. So let's go ahead and bring out their wide receivers. Of course, they got Jerry Jeudy coming back, 17th overall at wide receiver. Elijah Moore here, he is a free agent. They'll probably let him go. And Cedric Tillman, they still have. He's under contract. He was a 3rd round pick, 74th overall, under 2026. So he flashed a few in the middle, but hurt a lot. So that's their wide receiver. Let's bring out the tight ends. And they do. And Njoku was the 11th tight end overall. At least they have that to hang their hat on. That's pretty good. He'll be back. Jordan Atkins is a free agent. Will they bring him back? He played pretty good some towards the end, but he's not under contract anymore. 3rd round pick originally. Probably could sign him cheap. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of demand for him. But anyway, that's a look at the North. Let's take a look at this. If you're liking what you're seeing, please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. Do it today. Be the first on your block. Hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up. Thank you. All right, it's that time. I need to fill my shorts. Get a short, make a short out of this. Warning, this is a rapid repeat. Fantasy AI with your AFC North signings. DeAndre Carter comes in first, willing free agent to sign with the Browns offensively. Patrick Ricard resigns with Baltimore, bruising blocker up there. Mason Rudolph comes back home to Pittsburgh. He was drafted there earlier. Kenneth Gainwell comes in from Philadelphia to stabilize the running backs in Pittsburgh. Mike Gesicki re-signs with Cincinnati, important tight end there. DeAndre Hopkins comes in for Baltimore, wide receiver. Going to be playing there. Jalen Warren's going to stay home. Re-signs. Well, gets that free agent tender. Most likely no one's going to sign him. And Kenny Pickett comes back to Cleveland, a quarterback, former first-round pick. DK Metcalf comes to town to Pittsburgh to be a receiver. And, of course, T. Higgins signed. That was one of the biggest moves in the AFC.